Welcome to my speech. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? That is, how do you win a speech contest? I've played in Carnegie Hall. How did I get there? You guessed it. Practice, practice, practice. But how do you practice your speech for a speech competition? Almost all I know about practicing, I learned from my son's cello teacher as he shaped my son into the professional cellist he is today, and from my Toastmaster mentor, Larry Bulow. Practice, practice, practice. My son Keith won a concerto competition, actually many concerto competitions, and practiced his music literally thousands of times. Keith practiced the concerto's first 4 measures, maybe 5,000 times. Think about when you listen to music or to a speech. You are either captivated by the opening or you zone out. Make that opening awesome. Keith practiced the last section thousands of times as well. After all, the last thing you hear is the ending. That's what the audience will remember. It should summarize your speech and have a strong action point. The opening and closing of your speech, just like the opening and closing of his concerto, should be solid, so practice them really well. I learned from my Toastmaster mentor, Larry Bulow, memorize at least the beginning, ending, and your main points. In fact, I memorized the entire speech. But if you don't want to do that, memorize at least your beginning, ending, and main points. That way you could keep your speech sounding fresh every time and allow yourself to improvise for the audience. During this time when we're using Zoom, use your discretion whether this works when you can't see your audience. Keith had to memorize the entire 40-minute concerto, which is way more daunting than a 5 to 7 minute speech. You can at least memorize your beginning, ending, and your main points. You can do it. Practice in sections. Our eldest son attended one of Keith's concerts and said, "Oh, that's how it sounds," because it was the first time he had heard the piece played from beginning to end. Before that, he had only ever heard it practiced in sections. Practice your points or paragraphs out of order. Because what happens if you mess up when you give the speech and you give them out of order? You need to be prepared for your own mistakes. Practice starting any place in your speech and speaking all the way to the end, because you may get interrupted by your audience or even your own thoughts, and that could throw you. Practice your speech really fast, really slow, or vary the speed throughout. When my son was auditioning for colleges, he had been playing the same set of 4 pieces for over a year. His teacher wisely told him to practice them differently each week so he wouldn't become so hopelessly bored with them that he couldn't perform them with passion. His teacher also explained it would help him continue to learn from the music. The same is true with your speech. Vary how you practice it. Fast, slow, while driving when you can't give it your full attention, while cooking, while doing chores. In addition to helping you memorize and present your speech, it will also highlight if you have any words you need to change. Listen to yourself. Find a way to record yourself. One time I gave a speech at Toastmasters and the evaluator said that I made several lip smacks. What? Not me. I don't think so. I recorded myself and sure enough, I did. It was hard to get rid of them. But if no one had pointed out this annoying habit, I would still be doing it. I record myself on my phone, on this app that's on the iPhone, but there are other apps that you can download, and listen for awkward phrases and pauses, for filler words, and for lip smacks. That's not a lip smack, but you'll get it. Watch yourself. Record a video on Zoom or on your phone. If you can't record yourself, at least give your speech in a mirror. I know there's nothing more humbling than watching yourself. You think you have good self-esteem and body image until you have to watch yourself on video. Am I right? Believe me though, if you want to get better, you'll get used to it. Are you making weird faces at strange moments? Are you frowning the entire speech? Are you smiling when you should be or when you shouldn't be? When my son played his concerto with the orchestra, he had to sit on the stage for 4 full minutes doing nothing while the orchestra played his introduction. He worked on what expression he would present during that time. Have others listen to you and watch you. Family, friends, fellow Toastmasters, anyone. I once gave a speech at my exercise class while we all exercised. It was hard, but worth it. Ask for general and specific feedback. My son obviously played for his teacher weekly and got feedback. He also played at workshops where he was evaluated by other professional cellists. And all this before he finally performed with the orchestra. Imagine your audience and its reaction as you speak. This tip I learned from my mentor and film director, fellow Toastmaster Michael Miller. My main problem is that I need to give speeches as a conversation because, admit it, no one wants to be lectured. By imagining a listener or two, it forces me to have a conversation with them. This is the hardest tip for me to do. Fellow Toastmasters and my son's cello teacher were very wise in their approach to practicing. Maybe you don't want to play in Carnegie Hall, but I think these tips will help you have better success in speech contests. Thank you.